Fellow Global Samud Flotilla activists are alleging Greta Thunberg was subjected to horrific mistreatment after she was illegally detained by Israel for the crime of trying to bring humanitarian aid to Gaza. Following his release and arrival in Istanbul, a Turkish journalist told local media he witnessed Israeli forces, quote, torture Greta. Quote, they dragged little Greta by her hair before our eyes, beat her, and forced her to kiss the Israeli flag. Another journalist and flotilla participant said Greta was, quote, wrapped in the Israeli flag and exhibited like a trophy. Greta herself, according to reporting from The Guardian, told Swedish embassy officials who met with her that she had been subjected to, quote, harsh treatment and was not given enough food or water and was made to stay in a room with what she suspected were bedbugs. I want to make something very clear here. If this is how Israel treats someone as high profile as Greta Thunberg, I want you to consider how they treat Palestinian detainees whose names we don't know and who don't have the world's eyes on them. And here's the thing. You don't have to imagine it, because it's been widely documented. Which is the reason I say anyone who calls for the release of the hostages in Gaza without ever also calling for the release of these Palestinian detainees who have been arbitrarily detained are showing at best ignorance and at worst a disqualifyingly cruel anti-Palestinian racism. See, human rights organizations have documented that Israel regularly subjects Palestinians to administrative detention, which means detention without charge or trial that can be renewed indefinitely. This practice by Israel was already at a 20-year high before October 7th, and it spiked after the fact. These are legally innocent people held without charge or trial. The documentation of the torture that these detainees face is extensive, including horrifying reports from Amnesty International, the UN, and Israeli human rights group B'Tselem. The Amnesty report describes how, in just a month after October 7th, 4 Palestinian detainees had already died in Israeli detention facilities. It also described men stripped naked and blindfolded, kicked in the head, humiliated, and beaten so badly their ribs were broken. The UN report, meanwhile, describes Israel's treatment of Palestinian detainees like this. Quote, detainees said they were held in cage-like facilities, stripped naked for prolonged periods, wearing only diapers. Their testimonies told of prolonged blindfolding, deprivation of food, sleep, and water, and being subjected to electric shocks and being burnt with cigarettes. Some detainees said dogs were released on them, and others said they were subjected to waterboarding or that their hands were tied and they were suspended from the ceiling. Some women and men also spoke of sexual and gender-based violence. B'Tselem, the Israeli human rights group, details similar crimes, calling the prison facilities, quote, torture camps. Speaking after her release, Greta Thunberg wanted to remind people that she's not the story.
Thousands of Palestinians are currently being held in Israeli dungeons without a trial, hundreds of which are children. Millions are living trapped under an illegal siege in an apartheid state and occupation, who are being systematically starved and bombed to pieces.
What do you think of all this?